Well, good Monday morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. I'm Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for today.
We'll get into some college football. We'll get into the NFL. Obviously, we'll get into Game 7 between the Toronto Blue Jays and my Seattle Mariners tonight. First pitch, 5:08. Plus, we'll have our boy Tyson Hayes bringing in Trevor Chavez coming in at 8 o'clock. Feel free to call or text in anytime during the show at 661-842-2000.
Absolutely. Plenty to talk about over the weekend. 6 major upsets in the top 25 in college football. Plus, James Franklin spoke for the first time since being fired from Penn State. We'll possibly get into that. We got Speak Your Truth Mondays starting today. Sparky's going to be our first one because he's got plenty to talk about. And I'm sure plenty of you Raider fans do as well. So feel free, reach out, 661-842-2000. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll let you speak your truth for a couple minutes, whether it be frustrations or you just want to cheer for your Dodgers, who essentially had the greatest playoff performance by a pitcher ever on Friday, which we'll get to at some point as well. Let's start in the NCAA, though, because there are way too many upsets over the weekend to really just glance over. I mean, we could start with the number 2 team in the nation, the Miami Hurricanes, falling to Louisville and the Cardinals 24-21 at home. This is probably the biggest upset of the weekend. To be honest with you, the Cardinals defense, number 1 defense in the ACC, and they came out and showed it and just thwarted everything Carson Beck was able to do. 4 interceptions for the starting quarterback in the Hurricanes, and it's the highest he's ever had in his entire career, 2 of which came in the fourth quarter in pivotal moments. And to be honest with you, that's what really is the biggest highlight to me. Carson Beck, longtime Georgia Bulldog, I mean, national champion, obviously left Georgia to go to Miami to make more money because he knew he wasn't going to make that much money in the pros yet. So he decided, I'm going to take an extra year. I'm going to go to Miami, see what I can do over there. And up until this point, he has had some success, but it's games like this that are really going to thwart his ability to get to that next level, or at least start at that next level, because they're going to be looking at games, well, like this one, where it came down to the final moments. And instead of leading your team down the field in a clutch time performance, like most of these quarterbacks in the NFL are required to do to be a starter nowadays, you threw 2 interceptions and essentially handed this game to the Cardinals. And really, that might be damning for Carson Beck going into what would potentially be a draft year for him. And for all, or on the opposite side of this coin, for bettors and stuff like that we're looking at this game, this was so unlikely. The Cardinals were 0-18 headed into this game against top 10 opponents on the road. They were 1-8 all time against number 1 and number 2 seed teams. The one win they had was 2016 when they absolutely thwomped the Florida State Seminoles. But this is probably the biggest win in their program's history, at least in the last 2 decades. So this was a massive, massive upset that I think if you did not get a chance to watch this, I feel sorry for you because this was such a fun game to watch. Did you get to catch any of this, Spark?
I did not.
No. Oh, man. Again, college football is so chock full of all these upsets every single week. You never expect it to be the number 1 or number 2 teams in the country. But right now, when you look at the way the structure is with the top 25, I would expect Miami to drop considerably after this loss, especially with it being at home. And once again, the best team in the country continues to be the Ohio State Buckeyes, who probably have no competition going into this playoff right now. And I'll come out and say it as a USC fan, was very disappointed in the Trojans Saturday night, although they held into it until that fourth quarter. That 100-yard kick return is really what thwarted them. But right now, I don't think there's any team outside of maybe Notre Dame that could put up a fight against the Ohio State Buckeyes, which is saying a lot.
That was a hell of a game.
It was. It was a
I
fantastic
did get to catch that. I started out with losing with LSU, and then I was like, all right. And then I had an early BC game, so I had to get down here and set up at 1:30,
right,
which BC looked horrible again, which I believe it's 4 or 5 in a row. We'll talk to them on Wednesday. But then I got to kick it and chill with the Georgia comeback.
Yep.
And then rushed home to be able to watch the end or the second half of the USC game.
We'll start with those, or we'll move on to those two, I should say. Let's start with the LSU Tigers and Vanderbilt, a game that I kind of assumed Brian Kelly and the Tigers were going to fall, especially not having one of their biggest leaders in, I believe it was Whit Weeks, who did not play this weekend. If you don't understand that, there are multiple Weeks boys, all brothers, playing for LSU at linebacker, which is wild to me, but it's still one of the best stories in college football. Vanderbilt, though, the number 17 team, going and beating the LSU Tigers at home, mind you, the number 10 team in the nation. This is the first time, I think, in at least 15 years that Vanderbilt has had a ranked opponent while also being ranked at home. And they came out and showed exactly why they're still ranked. I mean, for those of you who don't follow college ball, SEC or the SEC is probably the strongest conference in college ball. And this is the conference that has Alabama, LSU, Florida, all the schools, obviously, in the southern part of the country, or southeast part of the country, I should say. Vanderbilt has always been the joke of that conference. Vanderbilt has always been the little brother that gets beat up by everybody. True, you've had a handful of players come out of there, your Jay Cutlers and whatnot, but most of the time, Vanderbilt is not really looked at as one of those schools that's a formidable football team.
And it looks like they'll be the first time they'll crack the top 10 since like 1947.
And I love the fact that Diego Pavia is really the main driving force of this. For 2 years, this kid has really been gaining attention media-wise at Vanderbilt after the big win last year against Alabama, and now stretching that into this year with them being, well, I think they're 6-1 right now, and they're dang near untouchable in the SEC. This is going to be an interesting run for a Cinderella team because once Diego's gone, I mean, obviously this team's most likely going to go straight back down into the, toilet bowl. But it's always fun to see these teams who are traditionally the lower part of a powerhouse conference come up and show everybody, hey, even our worst team can be better than your best team. Now, going back to this game as a whole, I think this was a great back and forth contest. 31-24, if I'm not mistaken, was the final score. And LSU was in it throughout the entire time. Garrett Nussmeier is a stud. I'm starting to feel bad for this kid because it seems like every single year he balls out, and then there's one game that ends up ruining the Tigers' entire season. And you see Garrett, and it's a universal shot too. Every single time it happens, it's a picture of Garrett Nussmeier with a towel over his head, his hand in his head, or his hand in his hands, and he just is beside himself because he just led his team down the field for a score to take the lead, and then let it go again. I mean, you look at the stats this kid had. Let's look at this. Garrett Nussmeier went 19 for 28, 225 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 62-yard touchdown to Thomas that really took the game back for the Tigers. Diego Pavia went 14 for 22, 160 yards and a touchdown. But what killed it for him was 17 carries, mind you, 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. Pavia is a dual threat quarterback, I realize, but when you look at just the duel between these two quarterbacks, it was fantastic to watch. And I'm really starting to feel bad for Garrett Nussmeier, who came back this year for the LSU Tigers to potentially compete for a national championship. He could have been drafted last year and be starting for an NFL team right now. Because if you think that Garrett Nussmeier wouldn't have been picked over Dylan Gabriel, but it is what it is.
It's probably best for him.
It probably is. Because he's going to be one of the more coveted quarterbacks coming out in next year's class. More than likely. Will he be the first one off the board? Probably not. I think the first one potentially is going to be Indiana's quarterback Mendoza. I think that guy's a stud.
So they keep linking him to Miami.
Absolutely.
I could see him in like Las Vegas or teams that are probably going to need to get a high drafted quarterback.
Mm-hmm. And again, the Commodores just really came out defensively and made plays late in the game, which is why Vanderbilt was able to pull this off. But
the defense is so hit and miss. And you mentioned it in the beginning, how you were missing a couple players, but I just, that the momentum change, you can see it in the guys' eyes. And I know they're younger guys, but you could see it. It was written all over their defense right when after they scored and came back in. I was like,
again, you give up or you give too much time to a lot of these teams these days in football, and they're going to come back and beat you. Vanderbilt, although again, not traditionally one of those teams you would expect to come back and beat you. It's just they're led by a fantastic leader right now, Diego Pavia, who should be on the Heisman short list. Whether he wins or not, doubtful. But he should be on the short list.
You think Vandy's legit?
Now, to be honest with you,
I
think
it's
this
one
is
of those teams that shoot themselves in the foot.
absolutely. I think this is a great Cinderella story. I would love to see them somehow sneak into the playoff.
I think they do.
But
I just don't think they do much.
They go up against a giant like Ohio State, and they're quickly going to be shown exactly why.
Oh, that's college football.
Exactly. And it's like it's hard to really say that Vanderbilt is one of those teams that can compete with really the top tier teams of their own conference, let alone the top tier teams of the Big Ten.
But it was a good win.
It was a fantastic win. And we're going to see a couple more from them probably throughout the season. But to sit there and say they're legit, they're real, they could win a national title. No, probably not. But again, a lot of fun to watch. We could sit there and hope that Diego Pavia can somehow will his way to the Heisman. Highly doubt it'll happen because there's plenty of talent around the country. And a lot of these guys, including Mendoza, are doing just as well, if not better. So we'll see how it all ends up. Let's talk about the other game that Sparky had just mentioned, though. And that was the battle between the two Saban coaching tree coaches, I guess, Lane Kiffin and Coach Kirby. As Ole Miss, undefeated going into this game, took on Georgia. And Georgia pulled off a massive upset behind their starting quarterback of Gunnar Stockton. 348 yards, 5 total touchdowns for the quarterback of Georgia. And all of those fat jokes from Lane Kiffin don't look so great no more now, do they? It is one of those situations where obviously this is a number 5 going against a number 9. I don't think there's going to be much movement in the top 25, if at all. I feel Ole Miss will probably drop down at lowest to maybe number 10 in the rankings if they haven't already. But again, I highlight all of these quarterbacks to say we're getting to the point where you're going to start hearing draft talk for a lot of these guys. Stockton, Carson, Nussmeier, Diego Pavia, Mendoza. These are names you're going to be hearing a lot because they're going to be all at least vying for some sort of draft stock here in the next couple of weeks. And Gunnar Stockton just made a huge name for himself with this win against Ole Miss. It is one of those situations where, much to the opposite side of Carson Beck, I talk about how Carson kind of threw this game away at the end with the 2 interceptions. Stockton stood tall throughout the entire game against a tough Rebels defense and led this team to a 43-35 win. And they were down 35-26 at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
It's beautiful.
It was fantastic.
It was beautiful.
To outscore Lane Kiffin and the Rebels by 17 points in the fourth quarter, take the win in this game. I think that is a huge message to every scout in the NFL. Stockton could be a dude. Stockton could be your guy. And on the opposite side of this coin, the Ole Miss Rebels obviously didn't exactly play like slouches throughout this game. Their senior quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss, I believe.
Chambliss, yeah.
300 yards, 3 touchdowns of his own right. And they scored on the first 5 possessions.
It definitely looked like a playoff game.
It was going to be one of those games where you thought, oh, Lord, Ole Miss is going to score every time they have the football, and we're going to see a 58-55 game. But for Georgia's defense to buckle down after those first 5 possessions and say, we're not giving you a single point from here on out, and them able to pull off a 17-point swing, that was fantastic to watch.
It was a big game. And I mean, obviously it's a big game for me because I'm a Georgia fan.
Naturally.
But what do you think? Does this, I mean, obviously Ole Miss has been hot lately. How big is this win for Georgia?
Huge.
Huge.
Because again, in college ball, 2 losses is damning, especially with the new playoff format.
Yeah, ask LSU.
Yeah, no kidding. And well, Notre Dame would have been in the same conversation had they lost on Saturday night. Notre Dame probably would have been edged out of the playoff because they don't have a really tough schedule throughout the rest of the season after this USC game. And really, when you look at Georgia as a whole, a team that's been fighting to really stay atop of their conference, the SEC, it is a great move for Coach Smart and this defense, who was able to pull off key stops, especially in the fourth quarter, that led to the 17-point swing. These games are massive for momentum builders. They're massive for just messages to your own team. Because I think a lot of these kids read their press clippings really early, especially when you hit the top 25. I think a lot of them are automatically thinking, okay, we're going to just waltz into the playoffs. This isn't going to be that big of a deal. And then that's when you get the pop in the mouth. That's when you get the one game where they get shocked. And then the rest of the country says, maybe they don't deserve to be in there. And with Georgia already hanging on to one loss, a second one probably would have been damning, regardless if it came from the Ole Miss Rebels or not. So this, in my opinion, was a huge win for them, keeps them on course. And again, it shows everybody in the country Coach Kirby is legit.
He is.
No matter who he's got, Coach Kirby can create a fantastic championship caliber football team. And I think that's exactly what we see in Georgia right now. It's honestly to the opposite of what I believe in Brian Kelly. As much hype as we give guys like Brian Kelly, Steve Sarkisian, a lot of these other guys, I don't see it. When you look at guys like Lane Kiffin, guys like Kirby Smart, you could see, okay, that is a legit head coach in college ball. Let's take a break. There's plenty more to talk about. The Golden Gophers got a huge win over the weekend.
Some coaches were let go.
And you know what? That's not exactly a shock to me either that Florida let go of their coach. And we'll get to that on the other side as well. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. Welcome back. This is the early bird special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. Streaming video every single weekday from 7 to 9 in the morning as the show goes on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can join us, like, subscribe, share with your friends, all that kind of good stuff. The other major upsets over the weekend that you should know about, the Arizona State Sun Devils pulling off a massive 26-22 win over the Texas Tech Red Raiders over the weekend. Another quarterback that you should probably keep your eye on will be ASU's Sam Levitt. He is a fantastic talent, and to be honest with you, probably the only piece on that Arizona team that I actually respect. But realistically speaking, they were able to pull off a 12-point fourth quarter comeback with with 30 seconds left in the game. Massive game-winning rushing touchdown by Raleek Brown to pull off the win over the number 7 ranked Red Raiders. This one will knock most likely the Red Raiders not only out of the top 15, but probably out of contention for the playoffs as well. It's another school that, once again, as I just said about the Georgia Bulldogs, when you lose one or two big games in college, your reputation, at least in terms of getting into the playoff, is absolutely abysmal. And this is a Texas Tech Red Raiders team that was playing without their starting quarterback, mind you, but usually racks up a national high of 550 yards a game. They were held to 276 in this one. And I know that's not saying much, but for a team that's literally averaging double the amount of yards that you're getting, obviously that's a big reason for why the upset probably took place. But as for the Red Raiders, it looks like they're going to be clawing from the bottom up, trying to make it into the playoff. The other two ones you should probably keep an eye on: UAB Blazers stunning the Memphis Tigers, as Alec Mortensen, son of ESPN reporter Chris Mortensen, pulled off his first win ever as an interim head coach after taking over for Mr. Trent Dilfer, everybody's favorite. But at this point, UAB, a team that no one really expects a whole ton from the ACC conference, pulling off a massive win over then undefeated Memphis Tigers. This will knock the Tigers out of contention as well, most likely, and move the Blazers forward into some sort of relevancy in the AAC. I would hope. The last game you want to know about would be the Minnesota Golden Gophers pulling off a win over the Cornhuskers and Dylan Raiola and Matt Rule, as Matt Rule's entire tenure with the Nebraska Cornhuskers is coming into question, as Penn State is still looking for their new head coach. And
that Penn State game too,
dude, I'm telling you,
I thought they were going to pull that one off.
At this point, Penn State is just done.
Yeah.
Their season's over. But I think that it's going to be a consistent talking point, though, every single week of if Nebraska wins or loses, especially how well this season finishes, is going to be the answer of if we see Matt Rule stay or not. I know he told the McAfee show last week that he loves the Big Red and he doesn't want to go anywhere. He loves the fan base, but you have to take into account what Penn State means to this man. He was a walk-on there at linebacker, met his wife there. I mean, this guy's got ridiculous connections to Penn State right now, and all of this coming to a head, especially when the Cornhuskers barely cracked into the top 25 this week, and to have it all fall apart against the Minnesota Golden Gophers, who again have a history of beating the Cornhuskers. They've beat them the last 6 times they've been played them at home, and in fact, the Cornhuskers haven't won a game in Minnesota since 2015. That's how long it's been. But regardless, Matt Rule and his entire future with this team is up in question. 9 sacks from the Minnesota Golden Gophers. That's a team record to pull it off. There's everything about this game that's making me scream Matt Rule's headed to Penn State. There's just something about this 24-6 upset. And this usually happens, right? When a team loses a coach, and we'll get to Florida in a second because they did move on from Coach Donovan over the weekend. It is always a question mark of who's coming in to fill that seat. The two main names we have heard from the last week and a half has been Matt Rule and Coach Cignetti. Coach Cignetti now off the board after he signed a long-term contract with the University of Indiana that's worth way more money than Penn State would ever be able to offer him. The main target for Penn State's going to be Matt Rule. And I genuinely believe Dylan Raiola and this Cornhuskers team are just going to do whatever they can to finish out this season on a positive note. And they're just going to have to say goodbye to that head coach. because Dalen is most likely going to the pros as well. But Matt Rule losing a lot of pieces on this Cornhusker team after this year. I would expect a lot of them to transfer most likely to Penn State if he does take that job. But with a massive 24-6 loss under the Golden Gophers this weekend, this one just screams to me the future is in the stars, and Matt Rule is headed to Penn State. I have no idea why, but when I watched that happen, it's just the first thing that popped in my head. What say you, my friend?
I mean, nothing on that. After the Florida Gators let go of Napier, I was immediately thinking Gruden.
True. Gruden's also on the board.
I could also see Gruden over in Florida. So that I know he's been talking about wanting to be in that conference, and I just it feels like a perfect fit.
Gruden to Florida does kind of feel like a better fit. I mean, again, Matt Rule to Penn State was what it is. The vacancies in the SEC obviously are going to be very, very interesting for any head coaching prospect. I've said it a million times. I would rather see Gruden in a place like LSU. I think LSU fits in perfectly, but I think you're right. I think Florida, especially with a young up-and-coming prospect at quarterback, could be a great spot for a guy like John Gruden to come in and build a franchise and build an organization. Because let's be honest, John's not going to be coaching in the NFL ever again.
I wish. But no.
There would be a great, great time had if Chucky was able to take that spot back in the NFL. But I'm going to highly doubt it. So maybe you're right. Maybe Florida is the best possible spot for John. Although, again, his name never really gets thrown into the conversation with a lot of these, right? Especially at the college level. I don't know if a lot of people just think that he thinks he's too big for the college game. You know what I mean? But I don't think that's the case. I think John just wants to coach.
Yeah. And I think watching his podcast and, just in the last 2 months, ever since he got out of this court case,
Yep.
I think he's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I wish he was coming to Miami, but that does not look like it's going to happen, at least until there's a new commissioner. But I think if colleges, I see Florida being a perfect fit for him.
There are moments watching Atlanta play where I sit there and say, God, I would love John Gruden as our coach instead of Raheem Morris. Because, man, were there moments in that game last night where I just wanted to reach through my TV and say, Raheem, what are you doing?
I feel the same thing. Especially with defensive play calling. I'm like, Gruden wouldn't have done that.
No, Gruden would not have done that. Exactly. It's like, oh, look, Gruden would have had this quarterback throwing perfectly by now. But no, again, it is what it is. I'm not sure exactly what the coaching future is for John Gruden. I hope it's college ball, because could you imagine one day we could potentially get John Gruden against Bill Belichick, John Gruden against Coach Prime, John Gruden against Kirby Smart? That would be a story in itself.
I think it's coming.
I think you're right. What college is the smart one to actually pull him in and pay him the money is what's going to happen, though. Is there any coach that you think is out there right now that most likely is on the hot seat in college ball outside of those two? Personally, I'm going to throw it out there. I do believe Sarkisian, if they do end up falling or losing one more game and falling out of the top 25 one more time, he most likely will be out of Texas. Because, again, like I said about James Franklin, which we'll get to him in a second too, because he spoke for the first time on College Game Day over the weekend. And I love what he said, by the way. He didn't take any hatred towards it. He took all responsibility. It even took Coach Saban on the other end to sit there and say it was unfair. I don't think it was unfair. We'll get to that in a second. But are there any coaches that kind of pop in your head as the potential, like, he may not be there next year?
I think the Texas guy is probably the key one.
Sarkisian?
Yeah. I think that's the only one that's glaring.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, after the Florida one, that was the one I think it was probably a week or two late.
Yeah.
Because that one was written all over the wall as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we had been hearing that since last year.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Probably should have done it then.
Probably. But again, it's one of those situations in the SEC where you want to believe in the culture that he has been growing and he has been creating. And being Florida,
blew up in his face.
Yeah, being Florida, you just kind of assume Florida is going to be one of those football schools every single year, and this year just doesn't happen to be that year for them. I mean, you've heard me earlier in the year. I've called for Brian Dable and DeBoer, Coach DeBoer and Brian Kelly both being on the hot seat. I think they both coached their ways out of that situation now, especially DeBoer, who has this Bama team rolling. And Simpson's another one of those quarterbacks that I think you're going to have to keep an eye on going into the draft next year. But I don't think Bama wins the chip. Let's not be crazy. But I think DeBoer's got them rolling pretty much
Yeah.
to the point where they're being a
They're
considerable.
they're in the conversation.
Yeah,
And that's all that really will keep his job.
exactly. So I don't know if necessarily any of those guys would be on the brink of being
And they're
fired as of
playing
right
way better
now.
than I was expecting this year.
Mm.
Yeah, I
I
just hate Alabama.
I understand that. I think there's a lot of people, especially SEC teams, that can't stand Alabama, and rightfully so. But again, I think that we're going to start seeing a lot of these big name colleges start to get fed up with some of these bigger name coaches that aren't making it over the hump, much like James Franklin. I've highlighted last week. I don't know if we still have the promo going. You've heard it a million times, not just for myself. James Franklin was 4-21 against top tier teams. And I don't care if Coach Saban says that's unfair. It is not unfair to fire a man that can't beat a top 25 team, let alone a top 10 team. So I think at this point, there's going to be a lot of heads being lopped off in organizations that really are just fed up with losing, that are used to winning. I don't think Florida is the last team to do that. And honestly, if LSU ends up losing 2 or 3 more games, I might be biting my tongue right now, and Brian Kelly might be the next one out. We will see what we will see as the season goes on. But as of right now, and honestly, as a USC fan, our boy got to be on that list too.
I was just going to ask
He
you
was
that.
just, I'm this entire, he can't travel over 2,000 miles or 1,000 miles and win a game. You could barely win on the road at all, let alone if you're traveling. And now you're in the Big Ten where it's literally all travel. So it might be time for USC to make that decision and say, hey, you helped us get Caleb and we appreciate that. But peace out. Fight on.
Time's up.
Exactly. So let's take a break real quick. We'll get to some other stuff on the other side, including probably the biggest upset or at least comeback in NFL history in the regular season, as the Denver Broncos pulled off a unlikely 33-point comeback yesterday. I still am baffled by the fact that they won that game, but we'll give you all the ins and outs of that on the other side of the break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield. It is a lonely Monday. At least if you're a Giants fan. Ouch. Man,
Or Dolphin, Raider. I mean, there's a long list.
there are a long list of teams that are upset right now.
BC.
BC. I'm upset as a Falcons fan, if I'm being honest. But it is what it is.
Mariners. Hey, at least we get a game 7 tonight.
Absolutely. And we'll give you guys a chance to speak your truth at some point during the show today. You'll be able to call in or text in. You can either unload on things that you are so frustrated about with your NFL team, or if you're a Dodger fan, feel free to speak your truth about your Dodgers. Are you guys going to win it all? Was Shohei Ohtani's performance in Game 4 of the NLCS the greatest performance of any pitcher ever in baseball? Yes. Yes, it was.
Yeah, I got to. I was with my wife at Camino Real. Is that how you say?
Yes, Real.
Real Kitchen and Tequila.
If
with our
Alejandro wants to call in and read me for saying it wrong,
with our boy Alejandro, and which I will say it was the first time we had dinner out there. Woo!
Oh, it's fantastic!
Wow,
it is fantastic.
And he came out and helped us order.
I miss the big. This is not Alejandro,
but it was right in the middle of the Dodger game, so we
course.
got to watch the whole Dodger game with the packed house with Dodger fans, and it was the craziest thing I've seen in baseball.
Oh, easily. You want to talk about a pit now? Let me set the table real quick, and we'll get to the NFL. Don't worry, there's plenty of time to talk football. We're talking about a pitcher who came out, struck out the side in the first inning, was the first one up to bat, and what did he do, Sparky?
Hit a home run.
Cracked one. 400 plus. I remember sitting here with our guy J.R. Flores, and he was just like, "Oh, Shohei Ohtani, what do you believe?" And rightfully so. I didn't take it into account. That was a guy
that was on a cold streak.
Absolutely. And we'll get to that part. I didn't take into account how impressive this was until someone made a compilation of every strikeout and every home run he hit. For every 3 to 4 strikeouts he threw, he hit a home run. Pitchers don't do that. And every home run he hit, 3, mind you, in 3 plate appearances, would have been a home run in every single ballpark in the MLB by far, bar none. On top of that, he struck out 10 batters in 6 innings on 100 pitches, 3 walks, 0 big fat goose egg given up in the run category. It was so impressive that they gave the man the MVP award for the entire closing series, and he literally only had 1 good game. That's how impressive this was. I hear guys like Evan Cohen, all these people saying he's the greatest baseball player of all time. He is. He's the GOAT. Just get over it. For all of you going out there, oh, Babe Ruth, stop. Babe wasn't throwing 100-mile-an-hour peanuts.
Yeah, we shared a video over the weekend, luckily with the AI, but even, it was a different time.
It was a different time.
But it's still baseball, and obviously, I've seen people over the years grow, and these athletes are getting quicker and better and stronger. And I think it'll be a long time before we see somebody like Ohtani.
I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out in 5-10 years after he retires, and we all figure out Shohei was just a cyborg created by the Japanese nationalists to come over here and
I was going to say test him,
baseball.
Dude. We need to test this guy.
I know, really. That's what I'm thinking. It's like at this point, are you even human?
Just test him to make sure he is bleeding the right blood.
We joke about Bijan Robinson and Saquon Barkley being aliens, but no, this man is an alien. This man is not human.
He must have been here in the show, because Friday we were talking about, Ohtani hasn't done anything in this series, and went down the other 8 guys that are all-stars on every other team.
Yeah, and studs.
But what did he do? He came out, hit 3 homers at 3 at-bats, and struck out 10.
Absolutely.
It was definitely entertaining to watch. I was at Dionysus to watch the Mariners game, and it was the first couple innings of the Dodgers, and that place was packed with Dodger fans as well.
Naturally.
But even our boy Kyle was like, dude, this guy is insane.
It's insane to watch. It really is. And again, there are other names that you can throw out there as a GOAT. Barry Bonds, I realize, is a guy. But come on, dude. When we sit down and really take into account, absorb all of what you know, and really, if you look at the past decade in baseball, we've had so many all-time greats. It's absurd. Miggy Cabrera, Albert Pujols, Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani. Those are just the hitters. You want to go down the pitchers: Kershaw, Verlander, Skubal, DeGrom, Syndergaard. The amount of all-time talents that you have seen in baseball in the last decade has been uncanny, and he could be better than all of them. Every single player that I just mentioned, and then some, he's better than all of them. Shohei Ohtani is the GOAT of baseball.
And he's just getting started. I
Yes.
was gonna say, if he was to walk away right now, they would still talk about him as the
Yes.
greatest.
Rich
But that's the
Eisen.
thing. But he's still got 8 more years on this contract.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, dude, we're just getting started with this guy.
Eisen says the same thing. You drop him and Aaron Judge out today. They both retired. Never play another inning of baseball. Both of them are hands down first ballot Hall of Famers.
Oh, yes.
Hands down, no question. So
It's just gonna suck when the Dodgers lose the World Series.
I sure hope so. I sure hope so.
I'm just kidding,
But
guys.
we'll get to that at some point. You know, we, like Sparky said, we got a game 7 tonight, a fantastic game 7 for you guys who are baseball fans. And although the Seattle Mariners did not pull it off last night,
in Mariners fashion,
again, I'm Vladdy boy. I'm just saying, my boy.
well, they didn't even look like they wanted to win that game.
No,
so
again, it's a game you didn't necessarily have to win.
no,
though.
exactly. And
Seattle,
you could see it from the manager. He's like, I'm just going to let this pitcher lose this game. And
here's the thing,
not
though.
in a rush.
I've been kind of saying this to Dodger fans, and I'm still harping on this, but I think the week-long rest for the Dodgers is going to hurt them. I think a lot of people are sitting there thinking, oh, we get time for our arms to get healthy, our arms to get rested. That's fair. But again, as I say every time in playoffs, especially when you have that first round bye, you don't do well. And the reason for that is you're most of the time just sitting at home collecting dust. They're not practicing every single day. And at the same time,
and it'll be World Series week. They're going to be doing interviews.
Right.
They're going to be, batting practice here and there, but it'll be more of nonprofit, taking pictures, doing interviews, doing radio, TV. They're going to be on ESPN all week.
And you have no idea who you're playing. You have you have one of two options, true, but you can't prep for Seattle and then Toronto win or vice versa. And then you're back to ground zero. Everything you just prepped for goes right out the window because that's not the team you're playing. So I genuinely believe this week-long rest, because the World Series does not start until Friday.
It might hurt them for game 1.
I think it's going to hurt them a little bit more than people think.
But then the other team, whoever they're playing, is going to have, 4 days off as well. So
true. But I'd take 4 days off than over a week.
Oh, yeah.
I would. But again, that's just my thought process.
It's an extra 2 days, but
I've seen it a million times
we
over.
We watched it at the beginning of the playoffs.
Yes.
I mean, the teams that had the buys, they came out
flat,
slow and dusty,
as they usually do. I mean, again, I'm not saying that's why Philly lost, but I think that's a good reason why Philly lost. Had Philly played in the wild card and stayed hot, probably would have been a better series against the Dodgers.
But going back to the Mariners series, I mean, it's been whoever's bat is hot that night, and it's been so hot and cold for either team.
And Suarez,
not only just the Mariners.
I'm happy to see Suarez is stepping up a little bit after we called him out on the show. He has actually been a pretty hot bat. Cal had his first error I think I've seen him throw all year long.
A couple of them.
I don't think you could really.
But get it out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you could really error him for that. I think that's just human nature. You're going to have those happen. And like you just said, you'd rather get him out of the way in a game that's not that detrimental to you.
I mean, either way, it's going to be cool. If it's the Mariners or the Blue Jays, I think game 7 tonight is going to be entertaining. You're not going to want to miss that.
And either one of these AL teams could put up a fight against the Dodgers, although the Dodgers are still the best team in baseball.
Yep.
And it's an uphill battle, whomever comes out of the ALCS tonight. We will take a break real quick. On the other side, we'll get to the NFL. There's plenty to talk about, including the Broncos and all of this kind of craziness. Plus, Patrick Mahomes becomes the most winning quarterback under the age of 30. Josh Jacobs and Micah Parsons help the Packers pull off a comeback win over the Cards. There's plenty to talk about, so we'll get to that after the break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. Early bird special right here. Final segment of the 7 o'clock hour. Our guys Tyson Hayes and his buddy Mr. Chavez will be joining us right after the break. Talk about Open Mic Mondays.
Open Mic Mondays.
We do not nearly have enough time to run down all the NFL news that we got to get to, so we'll get to that probably after our discussion with our guy Tyson and Mr. Chavez. Now, there are plenty of things to talk about, though, besides that. I mean, let's get this out of the way, just because it was a pretty shocking story from over the weekend, but we lost the muscle hamster. We lost Doug Martin over the weekend, amongst others. I think I also heard that Jesus Moreno also died.
Big Mo.
In a car crash, or in a automobile crash. I think he was actually on a motorcycle, as well as Sermo. Yeah, also passed away, for you wrestling fans out there. And that it was a rough weekend, but we have some information, at least when it comes to the Doug Martin situation. Looking into it a little bit this morning, it seems that Doug was part of a altercation with police early Saturday morning around like 4:15, where 2 calls got called in to the police department in Oakland that night. One was a B&E. The other was somebody in need of medical attention. Both of them believed to be Doug Martin at the same time. That's from what I keep reading, is that they believe both calls were made for Doug. Cops got there. Doug was in need of medical attention. Apparently, there was a struggle between the police and Mr. Martin, in which he, I guess, lost consciousness, or at least was not responsive, thrown in the back of the car, and he passed away while in custody with the police in Oakland. What was going on with Doug Martin, we have no idea yet. I mean, there are many things that we could speculate. I know there are some medical conditions, including strokes, that can cause certain things to happen, including sleepwalking, not being cognitive of where you are at certain times. I don't think we should rush to judge police officers in this situation. Although you'd never want to hear there's a struggle between somebody and the police. That's the last thing you want to hear. But I don't think,
especially in Oakland, but let's get the facts out first.
Exactly. And 36 years old, it's an unfortunate passing, and nobody wanted to see this man go anytime soon. But until we know the full story of it, I think everybody should just remember to refrain from bringing out any unneeded or unwarranted opinions, because you know exactly where a lot of people are going to go with this when hearing there's a struggle between an African-American athlete and the police. But I think in this case, there's probably some sort of long history of some sort of, medical situation that Doug has been dealing with, most likely since his retirement from the NFL.
I forgot about the muscle hamster.
It's the greatest nickname in football, baby. Muscle hamster.
It is.
It was. Oh man, I loved watching this dude play. Even though he played for the
Raiders.
Bucks.
I forgot he played with the Raiders, but when I think of Doug Martin, I think of those years with the Buccaneers.
The Bucs, man, 2-time Pro Bowler with the Buccaneers. He was a stud. I mean, this was a story that I did not want to hear about over the weekend. I know a lot of us didn't.
Yeah, we lost Ace Frehley last week at Kiss. I know the bassist of Limp Bizkit passed away over the weekend.
Again,
it was a busy weekend.
Doug Martin, Jesus Montero, who was also 35. Sermo, for you wrestling fans out there, also passed away over the weekend.
And he's had health issues, right?
Big Mo or Sermo definitely had health issues. That I can't speak on of what it was, but that more than likely, if you're a wrestler, I just assume you had some sort of health issues that contributed to this. But at the end of the day, we will give you all of the information we can on all of these situations, especially Doug Martin when it comes out. But just a call out there to everybody before we start throwing stuff out there we don't know yet. Let's wait to hear what the medical emergency was. I hope and pray it wasn't something that, led to some sort of bad altercation. But I've heard stories where strokes and other type of things, which seizures, all this stuff can come into play even when you don't know it's happening. So God, I really hope it wasn't one of those situations where Doug went to bed that night and his body got him up at 4:00 in the morning. And but let's get to a break. We'll talk about something much more positive on the other side, as we have two very, very funny comedians coming in to talk about open mic night here locally in Bakersfield at the Firehouse. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. And we also stream video every single weekday from 7 to 9 on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can join us right there. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Early Bird Special, Hour 2 here on this Monday, 20th day of October. And yes, we will get to our NFL talk on the other side of the break, but we have a very, very funny comedian. We're supposed to have two, but our guy Tyson is running late today.
I deal with this every Monday.
Monday.
It's nothing.
See, but that's what I'm saying. We got the guy who actually runs the show now. That's Trevor Chavez right here. Sir, how are you?
Oh, doing great. Glad to be here this Monday morning, guys.
Right.
How are you guys doing?
I'm doing well, and I can see you're already decked out in your Lions blue for tonight's game.
I am. I'm excited. I'm hopeful because it's been 3 years since the Lions have lost back-to-back games. So, and they're at home. So pulling for them, hoping
don't put that out into the ether though, because then it'll be the one time they actually lose back.
Watch,
yeah,
I'm the bad luck charm that ends it for the Lions, and I'm gonna get a bunch of texts tonight from my friends back in Michigan just hating.
What is wrong with you? Stop talking in California. Let's talk about the open mic nights real quick. I know we've talked to Tyson about it a couple times, but you are also well engulfed in the entire process. So what do you do? Let's start with that. How did people know you in terms of these Monday night open mic nights?
So I am the sound guy for the Monday night open mics, Made You Laugh Mondays at the Firehouse Rosedale station here in Bakersfield. But I'd like to think I've grown that position. I'm a little bit more of a sidekick, if you will.
Mhm.
I'm the Guillermo to Tyson's Jimmy, the Ed McMahon, if you will, of the operation. That's what I've tried to become over the last few months. And the running gag is I'm the one that keeps Tyson from getting us canceled.
Yeah, there you go. And
I'm in the same boat.
See, because if he wasn't here, I would have gotten us canceled a long time ago. I could tell you that right
Okay,
now.
so you're the balancing point,
exactly.
the anchor, the same
and
way
I've
I am.
seen you
I
live
like
before at the
He's
well.
the seasoned vet in radio that's just keeping the dumb young kid from getting us in trouble. That's
No,
all.
I've actually seen Trevor a few times over at the well, so I'm a big fan. So when I started to put the pictures together, because the AI pictures that you guys do for the Make You Laugh Mondays, and I'm like, why haven't we had Trevor on, dude? Like, what?
And see,
then
look at
I
this. We
reached
tell
out.
him we want Trevor on, and he don't show up. That's what it is.
Yeah,
You can only get one of them at the same time.
Well, I mean, he's
apparently.
also a Charger fan, so
yeah, and that's the
been a
other
rough
thing
day.
too. He's not exactly very happy.
Yeah,
right
I was
now.
gonna make a joke that comedians are egomaniacs and we hate sharing the spotlight, but apparently this is killing Tyson, and he's just like, no, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna make him wait for me.
Oh, good Lord. But anyways, so still Make You Laugh Mondays. Is there any specific specials today that you guys know about?
That I know of off the top of my head. I don't. Usually there's great happy hour specials there, great food and drink specials. I usually recommend people, hey, if you want to leave the kids downstairs to watch the game or play some pool and come upstairs to the Vapor Room, as we call it, and watch some live comedy of some of the best local comics from Bakersfield and across the Central Valley, come on up. It's a great time. We're getting a great vibe, and I can't believe what me and Tyson have been able to get away with.
Oh, absolutely. But now Vapor Room, you have to specify that a little bit. Not like a vaping room.
No. That's just what I've come to know the upstairs room. Yeah. I've come to call the upstairs room at the Firehouse Bakersfield the Vapor Room, partially as
talk about that real quick though, as the sound guy, because I mean, for those who don't understand, you're probably the one that has to deal with most of the issue if you guys do have sound bleed over. So how easy does it make your job with this room just being completely isolated? You don't even have to worry about it.
It is nice. I mean, sometimes you will catch a little bit of sound coming from upstairs, or some of the music bleed over a little bit, but usually, again, like you said, that's just a question of me making sure my levels are fine and I'm giving everybody the right volume. We do a nice little sound check, Tyson and I, before every show, to make sure that nobody can hear the nonsense that we're saying downstairs and that families don't hear.
That's the stuff that'll actually get you canceled.
Yeah, that's the stuff that'll actually get it. There's some young comics that are still working on some real raw material, and some of it is a little dicey, because I don't know if you guys, this is a little inside baseball for anyone who's a comedy fan. When you're a stand-up comic, when you're open micing, once you get to about months between 7 and 9, that's when you feel like you got a handle on it. Like, yeah, I can do this. I can say really racist stuff and the N-word on stage.
Everybody will just laugh.
They'll laugh and they'll love it because I'm that good, and it never pans out.
No,
it's always crickets every time, and every single veteran comic in the scene can see it coming. They can almost smell it on a guy when he's about, you're working your edgy stuff tonight. You're going to say something off the cuff, and it's going to be terrible. Let's go.
Well, not only a sound guy, you're a comic as well, right?
There he is. The star of the show has arrived.
Well, before we even get into Tyson, we brought you in. So how long you been into comedy?
I have been doing, I was dabbling a little bit when I was in college, but I really got serious about it when I came out here to Bakersfield about 4 years ago.
All right. So 4 years. Did you start with the open mics?
Yeah. I started, actually my very first show was a student comedy competition out at Michigan State University. Fell in love with it immediately. I tell people that it's, go green.
Go green.
I always tell people it's a lot like getting on if you love it and you're going to do it. It's like a lot like getting on a roller coaster for the very first time.
Yeah,
like you're going to be scared, pee in your pants the whole time you're getting on stage and going up that hill. But as soon as you get off stage, all you're going to want to say is, "I want to go again. I want to go again. I want to do 5 more minutes."
Well, and you just told me before we came on air too that you have just fully jumped into doing this full time, right?
I'm doing it most days. If I'm not doing stand-up comedy, I'm performing in some capacity with friends.
Dealing with this guy
24/7. Also, previous guest of the show, John Burden.
Yes.
He and I guess now we're co-running Rolling with Comics together because he's now become the producer, promoter, and I'm now, I guess, the writer director, if you could call that, for a D&D podcast.
Which, again, I would love to jump in on that if you guys ever need
I will talk to John about that.
Absolutely.
And we'll see what we can do.
I think I told him that last time he was on the show, but I don't play it all the time, but I do love jumping into D&D.
Oh, I mean, we had Tyson
Nerds.
on.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm just
nerds,
kidding.
like
No,
you
I
were-
played.
Like you were on the last 2 episodes.
Dorks? No, I played. It was fun, man. I had a good time.
And Tyson Hayes has joined us finally.
Yes.
Hey, bud.
15 minutes.
I know, dude. Did you guys know that they're doing construction on every entrance
Yeah.
here? Yeah.
No, I
There's
know.
like 14 different
I know.
companies, and everybody was. There's a
Don't
whole
get me
line of cars
started.
jumping curves.
I have been told not to say the name of the construction company, just to save face.
I believe
but
that you said. Yeah, I know exactly what it is. I'm going
they
to talk to them.
are questionable. Let's
Yes.
just say questionable.
Oh yeah.
So
And if you don't know, it's just on California and Eastern
and
entrance. right
every
there.
other major street
And
in
coffee and other
Bakersfield.
main streets that you need to
God,
take your
they're
kid to
big-
school or whatever.
Absolutely
Yep.
ridiculous
Yep.
right now. But we were talking to Mr. Chavez here about, obviously, Make You Laugh Mondays.
Yeah,
as you
so
usually do.
in the like Monday mornings, right when you're frustrated, you're trying to be somewhere on time, and then you got all these stuff. Like I was on the Parkway, and CHP just started doing that thing where they start weaving to slow everybody down, just to piss everybody off first thing Monday
Mhm.
morning.
I've always wanted to do that,
Serious,
but
dude.
not in a CHP car, just like in mine.
It's just I don't think that'd be safe. People are like, "What is this guy doing?" We should
Yeah, we should probably stay
hit
away from
maneuver
this
him,
guy.
do a vigilante, arrest. But yeah, so when you have mornings like that, it's good to start out the work week at Made You Laugh Mondays.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about. Mondays, Monday evening or Monday nights, Trevor and I upstairs, and then you got a whole bunch of us for free, which is a surprise to a lot of people. You don't have to pay anything; you just show up,
Mhm.
and then we'll make you laugh on Monday nights to get the week started right.
And-
So,
And that's out at Firehouse. We've talked to
Yes.
the chef a couple weeks ago, which that was right before our brunch fest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which
Great
he had
chef.
the funnel,
it was
the
the
funnel cake waffles.
deep fry, yeah,
which
they were
were
good.
fantastic.
They were so good.
Does he still do those? Or can
They
you get those?
Yeah, you can get those there. They are actually really
We'll
pushing
see.
those. Yeah.
There you go. For you brunch fest people
For
who
real.
came out and actually enjoyed that, I would highly recommend you go get a full plate of it because
One-
my God, were they fantastic.
They were. It was one of the best items that they had there.
Oh,
To be
100%.
like, not being biased or anything. But
And then real quick, since we haven't gotten a chance to get into football yet,
yeah, I don't want to talk to you guys.
I could see
Hey,
that.
Okay,
I'm
hang
talking to
on.
a Dolphin
Let's do
fan,
this.
so
Well, no,
you got
because the
nothing to lose over
question
here.
that has been posed on the show, and I still haven't gotten an answer to this. What are you doing if I win the bet?
I know. we
Because
haven't
we
talked
got the
about
5
that,
minutes from me.
We haven't talked.
You might have to reset this because I've heard about the bet, but I don't
So,
heard the details.
For those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, Tyson has become a regular on the show,
Mhm.
and he is a diehard Charger fan. Right before the season started, we did our fantasy football quarterbacks to keep an eye on, and I had Dak Prescott over Justin Herbert,
Absurd.
which he found absurd.
I don't know.
First 4 of the weeks of the season, you were absolutely right to say it was absurd. I will not deny that. But ever since then, the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott have gone this way, and your Chargers have gone this way.
I did
so,
see that. The Chargers, though.
The
But we aren't
Chargers-
doing a Cowboys versus the Chargers.
No,
We're
no,
doing,
that's fair. We're
Mhm.
doing Dak Prescott against Justin Herbert, who has the
Yes.
better statistical season, which still is Dak Prescott
as of right now.
as of right now. But the bet was I have to do 5 minutes on stage at the open mic if Justin does better, which is a
Okay,
fair statement.
And then we walked away.
But yeah, well, then we walked away and never figured out what you have to
I don't
do.
wager much if I don't know.
I
something.
can see that. So we
We'll
got to
have
figure
to-
out something here to go the opposite direction.
I was thinking the same thing, but I
And
wasn't
I'm
going to
not
throw anything out
exactly
there.
sure how we're going to pull this off. We need to figure something out. Maybe Tyson can do like some hosting thing for us at some sort
Oh
of event.
no!
or you get some content where Tyson goes to like a training camp of some kind.
Oh,
nice.
now
Yeah.
we're working.
Like some
Now we're
Guillermo
talking.
You know
style.
what? You know what? I have an idea. Warm up athletics. I'm calling
Oh,
out
yeah?
to you guys
Gonna
right
kill
now.
this guy?
This
Our
is
guy
what I'm
named-
here
Nah.
for, folks. This is
Nice.
what I'm here for.
Look, man, I'm calling all our guys at 559. We'll get Tyson.
So we've got some local MMA fighters
Yeah,
that come on.
6 months from now, you're gonna
I got
just
a professional boxer on the line.
Yeah.
We can get Joel in here.
6 months from now, it's just gonna be video of Tyson like vomiting in a gym somewhere with me just laughing in the background.
It won't even be those. Remember those videos they used to do a while back with the bodysuit on and the professional boxers going ham on the guy's guts?
Or he just gets ripped and he enjoys it and he
That's true.
just changed his life.
That's absolutely true. Maybe I'll just have you up there in a Chiefs uniform or something.
Oh
like
no,
that.
that's rude. That's
See?
well. So wait, we did bet.
Uniform. There you go.
I don't know about that. That was just blasphemy. But so the Chargers did lose a couple games in a row.
Yes.
But silver lining, Justin Herbert had most passing yards in a game, career. Right.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I mean, he's still putting up stats with a very injured offensive line
100%.
and a very injured backfield,
That's
as we know.
fair.
So he's still doing it.
Again, no one's stating he's not having a great year, but that's not the bet.
That's true.
The bet is who has a better statistical year, which you can't get much better than second best pass yards in the NFL, which is Dak Prescott.
I mean, I would like to say it's most of it is Pickens, right? I wouldn't want to give it
I wouldn't
to.
even say that.
I'm just
CD had
doing
a couple
anything I
scores.
can to
He had a
say.
couple scores.
Oh yeah, CeeDee Lamb too. I would say it's wide
Ferguson's
receivers.
been pretty good. I mean, again, I'm not going to sit here and say the Dallas Cowboys are a championship contender. I'm not going to get crazy, but statistically,
Well, we obviously didn't think that they were going to be as good as they're playing right now
No.
either.
no, not at all. Especially
Yeah.
after losing Micah Parsons. There's no
And I
way.
still owe you 2 wings. Not
Yeah, you
not
owe me 2
one,
wings, by the way.
Not
Two
one,
whole
but 2
wings.
wings.
Hey, there was a time when you owed me a baker's dozen of wings,
Yes, I
you know,
did.
and I was like, I'll share
did.
one with you because I don't need more than a dozen.
That's fine. I was like, cool. Now I can get
You were
a
gonna
dozen.
get one
and you
wing
can
back
get the
for
I
last
that.
know. The thing when we made the bet and we were talking about money, we're like, let's make it fun. Let's do wings, 1 wing per point. And I
Yeah.
was like, the Chargers never win by more than 3. So I'm not getting full off this bet.
No.
You know what I mean? It's
I-
always so tight that
I
I'm
told
I
my
like
wife,
that,
and I'm like, you're gonna owe him 40 wings.
I've never heard that before, and I'm going to have to start using that. Instead of money, you're going to have to buy me 1 piece of food per point that you lose by. That's so great.
We're so happy when there's like a safety. We're like, oh, that's 2 wings on the board,
Sweet.
guys. That's
Throw
all
it
in.
in.
Shoot, and I might be able to double up on that.
mozzarella
'cause-
sticks to my plate, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
So how did you guys meet?
Comedy.
just through the scene.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah,
Comedy?
and kind of gravitated towards each other. We're different in a lot of ways, but I love getting to know guys that are slightly different because I'm not that interesting.
Yeah, I
but
mean, I'm a Mexican guy with a white guy's name. Tyson's a white guy with a black guy's name. So
it
just
mixes
the bond happened.
perfectly.
yeah,
Well, I remember watching you. I believe it was at the Well. Our buddy, big shout out to our buddy Dan Betts.
Yes.
But you used that with the when the cops come at a Mexican party.
Oh yeah,
Who do they go to
Yeah,
to
they're-
talk to
they
the
go to
cops?
Trevor.
It's
they go
Trevor.
to Trevor every
course it's
time
Trevor.
because there's a lot of give and take when you're a Mexican dude named Trevor. It's a weird life. It's just an odd thing because like right out the gate, you're born cut off from your culture. Like otherwise, like the only way you can hope that you're not is that you look at your birth certificate and you've got this really good ethnic middle name looking at you. Like that's what you got to hope for. Otherwise, you're just like. Oh, or otherwise, like you're like me. I wish I could do that, but my name is full disclosure, Trevor Nicholas.
Nice. That's
So
my
I
last
got-
name.
So they
that's
doubled
so
down.
wild.
Yeah,
why-
they doubled down. So I mean, I saw that at 13. I'm like, well, I guess I'm just getting into emo and skateboarding. That's how this one is going.
Did you have a second option? Did your parents think that hey, maybe like another name would work?
No, dude, no, because I mean, you've met my sister. My sister's name is Stephanie Marie. So
Oh,
nice.
dude, they were definitely leaning one
they
way.
tripled down. So
oh wow.
yeah, most of us just
And both of your parents are Hispanic?
yeah, both parents Hispanic. So George and Lola, Jorge and Lola.
Hmm.
You
Oh,
would
I love
assume.
it.
All right. All right.
I love it.
You want to talk about getting acclimated to the American culture?
Yeah, no, 100. They're hey, our kids are in Southern California. Here we go. And then when they
Right.
moved me to Michigan, they're like, perfect. He fits in already.
Oh, good lord. That's fantastic. My best friend's a Hispanic guy named Robert as well. Has the same issue. Same issue. It's not Roberto. It's Robert.
Robert.
It's hilarious. And then he was just letting us know that he's kind of the Guillermo to your side right now up there at the
Yeah.
open mic night. So, like, what's the dynamic kind of like between the two of you? Obviously, other than what we've gotten right now.
This is kind of it. You know, I've delegated the hosting job and Trevor's delegated the sound, but we will interject. Like I'll be up there.
Mhm.
Trevor will have something fire to slang out there for and then the whole crowd will erupt. It's just a really good mixture.
Is
I
it all
think.
off the cuff kind of stuff? Do you guys kind of look at each other during the show and he's just like, hey, I got something good for you?
Absolutely.
Usually it'll be me sitting at my soundboard with my little notebook that I have my jokes in, and I'll just write something real quick and then just slide it over to
Smart.
Tyson. And if if I either get a smile or a chuckle out of him, I know it's golden, and then he'll give me a nod like, all right, I'm throwing to you on that one.
That's about
awesome.
as prepared as it gets, though. Sometimes I'll be up there on stage and then something will happen. There'll be a 5-month-old baby in the back that starts crying, and or there's something wild that you don't expect.
Bring that baby up.
And Trevor will have something to say. I'll have something. It's just it's a good balance of, so you don't get Tyson the entire time. And we're changing with a bunch of good comics, and then Trevor's always right there to throw something.
It
out
obviously
there to make
keeps
him
you
happy.
out of trouble too.
Yeah.
You don't get anybody mad at you for something stupid you said.
Exactly.
Although we do have a lot of running gags that we go like, I think you've threatened my job like about a half a dozen times at this
Hey,
point.
we're live on air, Trevor. Watch your mouth because we'll cut you right here. Clock out, Trevor, and you don't need it tonight. All right. I'm taking applications for Made You Laugh Monday tonight, starting tonight for
there
Sound
you
Guy
go.
Trevor.
There you go, folks.
It's kind of like that.
It's like,
you know?
cool. I watch my Lions tonight then.
I'll be downstairs at the bar.
Oh, I'm just a regular comic tonight. All right, fair enough.
Sweet.
You're not invited.
Oh
No, Trevor's.
You're the
Trevor's
one
gonna
guy
be there
that has
forever.
to pay to get in there.
Yeah.
Again, folks, this is a taste of what you'll get on Made You Laugh
Dude,
Mondays.
I am so happy Trevor's a part of the team. Like, like we started making flyers for the show, and then everyone's like, "Oh, what do you mean a sound guy's on the flyer?" But it's not that. It's like it's like a
Oh,
duo.
yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I mean, it's us. So he's locked in, unless he pisses me off. You know?
If you'd ever seen Don Rickles live, kind of
yes.
the banter he has with his band leader, that's really what I was going for with Made You Laugh Mondays.
And you need that a lot of the time in these comedy shows, especially like late night or open mic
Mhm.
nights, because it just keeps the energy alive. And like
exactly.
you said, it's not just solely you. Everything is on you to keep everybody happy and laughing. And it's always better when you have two people bantering back and
That's
forth
the thing.
than some person just up there cracking a dad joke and hoping everybody starts laughing.
Mhm.
Right.
Exactly.
So
And you also have something coming up, right, Trevor? You have a show
Oh,
next weekend?
Yeah, I was going to say a bunch of stuff. So tonight, Made You Laugh Mondays, of course. Tomorrow night, for those of you who are a little nerdier inclined, Rolling with Comics, we are doing our live recording of our game. That'll be at twitch.tv/Rolling with Comics. And then this Saturday, I will be at the Poorhouse right here in Bakersfield over on Fruitvale.
fantastic. How long do your guys'
Eating or
D&D
comedy?
Actually, that's a great question.
Oh, sorry, what was that, Tyson?
Were you just going there to hang out and eat? or
Oh
you-
no, I'm going to be
Fair
on the
question.
show as part of Feature Fest.
That's right. Oh, that's
There you
Feature Fest.
go.
Hell
We got
yeah.
to name drop it a little bit there.
And then our games are usually 2 to 3 hours, and
Okay.
obviously viewer discretion advised. Adult content. There will be a lot of toilet humor and some alcohol and possibly drug use.
Well, I mean, as long as the drug use isn't shown on television,
Right.
Screen, you're
We
fine,
try and drip out off screen while we do that, but it's referenced a lot.
But then again, if the Lions lose tonight, it may be a little bit uglier on Tuesday.
There's going to be some drinking going on at the soundboard if the Lions lose tonight.
Let's talk about that real quick. Obviously, your Lions are playing the Buccaneers tonight. How do you feel?
They are. I'm not as hopeful as I would like to be, considering the slew of injuries in the secondary. I almost want the Lions to play less full tilt because these injury problems happen every year, but I know that's just Dan Campbell football, and that wouldn't make them. But on the other hand, Jared Goff has a solid record against Baker Mayfield, and the Lions haven't lost back-to-back games in 3 years. So fingers crossed we can pull this one off tonight.
What are your thoughts on the whole Brian Burns situation? Do you think he should have been suspended?
Branch?
Or Branch? I'm sorry,
Brian
Brian Burns. That's the Giants. My fault.
How many games did he get? Was it just
It
one?
was just one. You only got the one, which realistically could have probably been more.
I'm torn on it because I see why they gave him the one, but all of the pieces that were done about it were just such hit jobs. Like everything that was put out about it was just clearly such a hit job. So
the videos that they put out afterwards were nuts.
Well, because even was it Juju?
Juju was the one that
Yeah,
got
so
hit.
even Juju came out and said, well, he even shook my hand afterwards, and they didn't show that in the video.
No, of course
like he
not.
shook it off. They shook hands afterwards. I'm like, okay, well, you don't see that in the reels. Obviously, that's not the heavy part.
All of this stems from, I guess, the offense went out of their way to kind of gloat in front of Branch throughout the entire game. Plus, there was a block in the back that didn't get called against Juju. but it's football. Like you
The
can't exactly
right
fight the guy after you lost.
The rational, legal, like understanding, compassionate mind that I have in my head says yes, it's understandable if you want to have a zero tolerance
Right.
policy, you got to suspend him one game. But the Metro Detroiters in me says, don't start nothing, won't be nothing.
Right?
Exactly.
It's not like we kicked off the season with the guy spitting in another guy. You know what I mean? It's
Jalen Carter.
It's just football.
Again, I'm not surprised they suspended the guy. I'm more just like, if you were gonna fight him during the game, dude. Like, why wait till the end of the game when he thinks you're walking up to dap him up and then you pop him in the face when he's not ready for it? It's like that's
what you want out of a defensive guy, though. Personally, I mean, I wish the Dolphins had one of those guys.
True.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm honestly like, I'm all right with it.
And actually, speaking of your Dolphins, you see Teddy Bruschi came out and actually supported Tua for what he was saying last week. Said that he doesn't have a good
Teddy Bruschi
example of leadership on that
I
team.
don't want to hear nothing from Teddy Bruschi.
I agreed with him.
I'm ready. I'll do my whatever you call it on the Monday.
We're gonna do it. Yeah, we're gonna do it right after.
Or
this.
are we gonna do a roast of Teddy Bruschi? Is that what's gonna happen?
We're starting this whole thing on the show on Mondays called Speak Your Truth Mondays, thanks to Max Crosby, because that's something that apparently the Raiders do every Mondays. They air grievances amongst the team. So I figured, why not let the listeners do that too? Especially since Raider fans probably have a ton of grievances.
We don't have enough time.
Team.
Not enough time in the day for the show.
So I call out to all fans, if you want to air your grievances or even speak your truth in a positive note, 661-842-2000. We'll throw you in here, or you could text it in. You don't have to come on the air if you're too chicken to call out your own team. But I know there's a lot of Raider fans after that 30-plus point loss that are probably ready to lay into Geno and Pete Carroll.
It's going to turn into a group therapy session so fast.
That's what I'm
We'll
saying.
have to call the doc and get him in here.
I don't know.
I know you've been here. You said you got into comedy 3 or 4 years ago. Tyson, you've been on multiple times, and I don't think I've ever asked you that, but how did you get into comedy?
So it was wild. It was a random incident. I was going to.
You lost a bet?
No, not the case. I always loved comedy, right? I always loved it. Didn't have that one thing to push me over to get it started. So I really appreciated comedy. I saw it in LA, San Diego all the time. And then here in Bakersfield, I went to Timblr, right? Just a random visit to Timblr. Ran into Andrew Boydston, he's been on this show.
Yeah.
And we talked in the back, and he said, oh yeah, we've got open mic, here at Timblr, and then we've got the Well Comedy Club. So you should come try out the Well. And then I went to the Well, I think the next day. And then the rest is history. The only open mics I've ever missed are the ones that I was told, Tyson, you're banned for your behavior recently. You can't come back here until I say it's okay.
Have tried to get rid of him so many times.
Keeps coming
like
back.
a cockroach. He keeps coming
5
back.
or 6 things that someone that looks you in the face and is like, dude, you're like one of my best buddies, but you can't come to this establishment.
You can say that. Like, what's wrong with you?
I didn't do anything terrible. Just like things just like not acceptable.
Well, that's what's awesome, dude, because I met Andrew Boydston and Dan Betts the same night. We went out to the Rocket Shop Cafe. Somebody had told me about, there's an open mic. I ran into Betts. He was a guy from Chicago. Me being a Bulls fan growing up, we hit it off. We were talking, and he said, take the wife out and, go check it out. Yep. Ever since I've been hooked, I had no idea we had so many great comedians here in this town, whether it's you guys, Boydston. Boydston was the guy that opened the mic, told his whole story. He had his hat on and was a substitute teacher at the time before he got his full-time gig. And once he took off his hat and he was bald with the big beard, everyone just lost it. But I mean, the comedians, whether it's Hacker or, Chris Flail, there's so many great comedy here in this town. And it's just so awesome. Whether the Well is, getting worked on, it's looking like early January until that will get back into a routine. But it's guys like you that keep the fire rolling for these comedians. Or if you're new and you just want to get on open mic, how do they get in tonight on these open mics?
So what you guys could do, you could follow me at Tyson Hayes at Instagram, or Made You Laugh Mondays. That is a direct line to me that will get you guys the information needed or any questions, or I'll get you on the lineup. But if you want to do it in person, I suggest you go to Firehouse on Callaway and Rosedale. You go upstairs. I'll be there. I'm there 2 hours before every show, getting it ready to go. Come talk to me. And I'll get you on the list if you want to try comedy out. If you want to come and watch free comedy, go there on Monday nights. We got burger deals for $11. You get a burger. That's a $20 burger plate with fries and a burger. You can't beat that. Beer, is a fairly priced beer. I'll say it's a good priced beer.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I mean?
100%.
We know Fire. I buy Trevor. I buy some guys beer sometimes, and I'll look at my tab. I'm like, I tipped $2 and it was $7.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not bad. Go
No.
there, have a few drinks, get some cheap burger deal, and it is going to be a great Monday. And I'm just every time the audience is like, I can't wait to come back. Trevor was so great there on sound, making fun of you, Tyson. And the comics are it's always a good time. They feel loose. It's a different environment. It's like we get there and feel loose, and then the audience becomes part of the show. No matter how big the crowd is, it seems like we're all together. It's a good time.
Hey, for those of
Did I answer the question? I don't know what you
No,
asked me.
you answered it. I think you answered it. I'm pretty sure you answered
No, yeah. You guys are seeing a bit of hearing and seeing a bit of the magic here. Notice that I remember none of the promotional stuff and how to pitch the show, and Tyson had all of it. But when you need the love of the game, I'm right there.
It's teamwork, baby. Trust me. You're talking to two people right here.
I know, I
Balance
see this
out a
already.
show all the time.
I get here at 4:30 in the morning. He
Yeah.
walks in at 6:30, 6:45. I'm
Did
like,
you see the traffic?
Trust me, dude.
traffic, man, these days.
Awful. But real quick, just for fans that want to come and watch, but are maybe afraid that they're going to get picked on or something like that in a small room. Talk about that a little bit. How much crowd work can they expect? And are they going to be like, is it safe for someone just to kind of show up and sit in the back and just be there to laugh? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's what we want to make. We're trying to make an environment to where you can come there, feel comfortable, sit down, have a great time, and feel like you're friends with every single one of the comics by the time you're done. Now, if you feel like throwing out any jokes of your own at the comic while he's up with his very short, limited time that'll interrupt his set, then I would assume that you would be the star of the show shortly after. The comic is going to say something to you, maybe about the time that they have, and then they'll dive into the rest of making fun of you. So I'd just say, if you don't want that, it's because it's kind of intimidating if you've never been to that scenario,
The scene?
in that scene.
Yeah.
You don't want to sit right up front. You think that they're going to get made fun of. You've seen your reels, your clips, your TikToks. You think you're going to get, but it's not like that. It's a good, fun time. Like if you're ever in a group setting and you want to laugh together, it's just like that. But we just have all the chairs facing one way and there's one person with a mic in the front. But it's a good fun
So don't
time.
heckle if you don't want to get involved.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, and it is
usually-
sometimes fun to heckle back and forth,
I was
but
gonna
we
say,
don't.
usually the hecklers are the ones that want to be part of the show.
Right.
though.
Yeah,
They want
yeah.
to be picked on.
Yes.
I will warn
That's
one
the
thing
thing.
though. If you are a lady with tattoos and a nose ring, you may get flirted with by me. That may happen. I'll just warn you right there.
At least it's not Anthony with his whole
Yeah, his
feet thing.
fetish thing.
Yeah, dude, these comics
Goth
are
baddies
weird, dude.
beware on Monday nights. But gentlemen, thank you so much for your time as always. We appreciate both of you coming in. One more time, open mic Mondays, make you laugh Mondays, Firehouse. What time do they start?
7 p.m. Get there a little bit earlier. Get set up. It'll be.
And
Yeah,
obviously-
you'll catch a DJ set by me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Upcoming comics as well. Tyson will be there by 5 if you want to actually go up there and talk to him and potentially
Yes.
get on the short list of people to be on the open mic, correct?
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Or
The
Instagram.
podcast.
The podcast,
The
yes. One more
podcast.
time.
Rolling with Comics for those of you
Yeah.
who enjoy a good game of Dungeons and Dragons.
And
Absolutely.
Poorhouse Saturday
And
night.
Poorhouse, yes,
Mhm.
Poorhouse Saturday. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. We'd love to have both of you on as much as possible, and we will do that as soon as we can. So
Love to
thank you
come
guys.
back.
Appreciate
We'll take a break real quick, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. Big thanks to our guys, Trevor Chavez and Tyson Hayes, for joining us. Once again, go out there. Firehouse on White Lane? Rosedale?
Coffee.
Rosedale. Yeah.
It's Rosedale.
Rosedale.
It's over there to the right of Studio Movie Grill
There
and
you go.
Checkers and all that.
Yeah, right in between that and where Bricks used to be and all that type of stuff. Hard to
Great
miss.
place.
Fantastic. Wait, which one? Firehouse or Bricks?
Both.
Okay.
I've only been to Bricks once.
I've been to Bricks like 2 or 3 times, and I've been impressed. I haven't been there in quite some time.
That's not my side of town though, so I don't get out much.
Yeah,
I will. I'm trying to work out with my wife on where we are watching Game 7 of these championship series tonight.
Dionysus is always nice.
Dionysus is nice, but
you got to flip it around every so often.
Yeah, really and I work at Woolworths over there by Woolworths, and I can't really do another burger right now. So
that's a good point, especially since we've been trying to be healthier.
I'm like, babe, can you pick out somewhere with the big TV that I can eat something healthy?
Dude, I said that over the weekend. I was like, oh, we got paid. I can go get a burger. No, you've been good. Stay good.
And I will throw it out there since I said Woolworths. We're doing our grand opening block party this Saturday from 3 to 7. There'll be 5 bands. They've got the mayor coming out, and the diner will be open for service. But before we get into our comments on the NFL, we got Daily Dave.
Mr. Dave.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Weekend of sports. My Dodgers are in. We're waiting to see who's going to win tonight. My gripe,
go for it.
The NFL is not with the home team or the away team. It's with the team that's in black and white, the Zebras. They keep missing all these push-offs by the wide receivers.
Fair.
That used to be a big deal. If you had your hand extended, making space to make the catches, and there were some great catches off of those, and there was some great coverage, but get it right. Or how about the face mask that was blatant in one of the games? They didn't call it. You know, I'm upset with the Zebras. Is what that team. No. I'm not upset with any. You know,
I don't. I wouldn't necessarily
think?
Say you are alone in that either, sir, because I think a lot of people really are fed up with just the inconsistencies of refereeing across the board in sports. Period. Not just in football, but really just in every sport. But again, I have to echo what I tell everybody. Referees are still human. Everybody misses everything.
For now.
Yeah, for now. And until we could really get a replay system right in front of a lot of these guys' faces 24/7 without them having to go to the sideline, stop the game, and figure that out, it's going to be hard for them to really overturn a lot of these bad calls. Because, okay, if we're going to go there, I have a major gripe against the referees after last night's game. I mean, it when we really boil it down, watching the San Francisco game last night, that final touchdown should not have been a touchdown. That is an illegal play. Your offensive lineman cannot pull the ball carrier over the goal line. And that's exactly what they did. And they gave it to him. They didn't call that back. They didn't go and try to review that. They just gave it to him. And right after the break, you heard all the commentators say that should have been called a flag. They should never have gotten the field or the touchdown.
It was all over it, especially this weekend. It was all over. Hawkinson with the same thing with the Vikings should have pulled that win away. The Dolphins-Browns game, only because I was the only one watching it. No. But there was 3 or 4 calls that even the announcers didn't say anything. I'm like, all right, am I the only one watching this game?
At the end of the day, there's always something to get angry about with referees, but we have to remember they're human. They're just trying to do their job, and it's impossible for them to see everything on the field. Although I do agree with you, there are a handful of plays, including by George Pickens, that there are a handful of push-offs that I was
he gets away with murder.
He really does.
He does.
He really does.
Not even CeeDee Lamb. Pickens.
No, Pickens gets away with murder. And I can't say you're wrong on that, though, Dave. I do think there are a couple plays that you could really start to question why we need, computer referees. But again, when I bring that up, robotic referees, everybody comes at me as if I'm anti-American and I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think if they could just get the replay done quickly and not mull over it so long, even the first base play where the guy was.
Oh yeah, in the Mariners game.
100%. Yeah,
that took forever, and it's like.
But see, they have to get it right though.
Call it and get on with it.
They have to get it right though.
When even when my Dodgers throw a strike that's out of the zone and they call a strike, I'm like, I'm sorry. And then being a batter, a former baseball player, that takes the bat out of your hand. Then you don't know where the real strike zone is.
I will say that they've definitely upgraded that area of
Yes.
baseball with the strikes
ABS
and
coming
balls
too.
because that is quick and it's easy. And I will say the same thing with I had the multi-view. I was watching my Mariners play and I was watching the Falcons Niner game, and it took a good 15 minutes just for the replay on first base, which luckily they got it right. But of course, it was in Toronto, so the whole crowd was booing them for the whole game for that. But I think it's one of those things where they're going to have to get one of those 360 cameras to be able to manually look at all sides of the field.
Well, not even just that though. You said it yourself, Spark. They have to get it right, and to ask them to speed along the replay process would only create more mistakes and errors. We have to remember that these guys, again, are human, and I don't know a single human that can walk up to a television screen, look at something for 5 seconds, say, yep, that was it directly. That's exactly what the answer is. You have to be able to look at it from every angle and know that they took all precautions of saying, was this the right call or was it the wrong call? Personally, I agree with you. It shouldn't take 15 minutes, but at the same time, in certain situations, I'm okay with you taking an extra 2 to 3 minutes to look at that screen, look at your other referees and assess and say, hey, did I get this call wrong?
Yeah, that's, here they are trying to speed up the game. They're making our pitchers blow out their arms because they got to pitch too quickly. I heard the other night when they called a strike, I think on the Phillies pitch batter, when he didn't get in the box quick enough. And I'm a Dodger fan. I didn't like it, So all I want is them just to get it right and fair for both teams.
100%.
I'm a fan of sports.
No, 100%. You and me both, Dave. And trust me, I get your gripe. I definitely understand your frustrations, and you're right to have them. But at the end of the day, we have to remember it's sports. Referees are human. And at the end of the day, we're all trying to make tweaks as the game goes to make it a better game for everybody and a fair game for everybody. The one thing I'm going to have to, combat you about, though, is I don't think that the pitch clock is what's throwing out our pitchers' arms. These guys have been throwing 100 miles an hour since they were 16. That is what most likely is making them burn out their arms at a reasonably ridiculous rate.
You're probably right, but I just wanted to voice my gripe against
100%.
zebras. And I've been a zebra. I've been a zebra in football, softball, baseball, and the main thing I want to see out of a zebra is you're hustling.
Yes,
you're hustling to get in a position to get the right angle to get the play right. Because you're doing an athletic endeavor out there too, trying to be in the right position. If you're dogging it, you can't make the right call.
100%. And Dave, I appreciate you for being one of those zebras because we are at a massive, massive need for more referees in sports in general. So I appreciate you stepping up and being that person. But yeah, I have to say, I do agree with you in terms of the gripes against referees. And that is a beautiful way for us to start out Speak Your Truth Mondays. But at this point right now, I think we all got to remember, they're all human. They're not going to make every call correctly. And sometimes it goes against your team or goes for your team. It's just the way sports work.
You're absolutely right. And there were some great games. I was pulling for the New York Giants. That Denver team pulled that out. There were some great plays, great running, great passing, great catching. Great calls by the coaches. It was a great weekend. And then with the baseball, now we got hockey and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
We're right in the middle of it. So
the weather's changing, but
doing what you're doing, I'll keep trying to listen in. And
you mentioned you're a Dodgers fan. Is there a certain team you would rather play, which is the Mariners or the Blue Jays?
The one that scares me is that first baseman for Toronto.
Yes,
he's a home run hitter, But then you got Cal Raleigh on Seattle. I don't know. Pitching, you got Scherzer, or what is that name?
Max.
I think he's with Toronto. So, they're both great teams. At this point, whoever gets in, it's been a great series. And one of you are a Mariners fan?
Yes, sir.
That'd be him.
And I wouldn't mind seeing a Mariner getting in. They've never been in the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a great, great thing. And all I want to see is good contest, nothing real controversial. And, You know, I mean, we're peaking at the right time, though. The Dodgers.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
100%. You guys got healthy at the right time, and honestly, it's hard to beat the GOAT of baseball. It really is, no matter if he's pitching or hitting. So at this point, I think you guys are doing pretty well. I just hope for a great World Series, like you said, and hope we don't get a sweep. That's the one thing that I'm hoping for, is that we don't see one of these two teams sweep the other. That's never fun to watch on any side of it. But Dave, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it. We got to take a break real quick, pay some bills, and get to our thoughts on everything from the NFL over the weekend. We'll kind of speed through this. There were plenty of talking points to talk about, and I want to get Sparky's thoughts on his Dolphins as well and let him speak his truth. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield. Right here on the early bird special, 20th day of October. Hope you guys have a good Monday. And real quickly, because we're running out of time, and I know I don't have a whole ton to get down the list of games that happened over the weekend because there was a ton that happened in the NFL. We'll get to all of it by and by tomorrow, as well as our preview of the World Series that will get started on Friday. And basketball fans rejoice because the NBA starts tomorrow. Nobody knew it. I mean, not even I until last night watching the football game. But the NBA is back. And we're going to see some fantastic basketball to start out the season. Warriors, Lakers. I mean, it's going to be a fantastic way to start the year. I am excited. I hope all of you are as well. Let's talk about what happened in the world of the NFL, starting with Sparky's Dolphins. Sparky, speak your truth, my friend.
I will just, Tua. I've tried to stay behind him as much as I can, but I'm done.
You done?
I'm done with Tua. Tua is playing like he doesn't even want to win. And he's not reading anything. There was 3 or 4 different times during that game where even going into the half where it was 4th down and he's running around like a chicken with his head chopped off and not running out so we can get the special teams out. It was just, it's just hard.
Mhm.
And going in after halftime, we get the ball back. It was within reach. And the first play, interception. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And me and my dad watch every game together, and we're watching. And I'm like, look, it's either going to be a bubble screen or it's going to be a run outside. And it's like playing somebody on Madden in rookie. And I will finally back up our coach because
Really?
he finally said something that I can agree with.
What?
We'll have an important work week because we're not. I mean, if you are negatively affecting the football team routinely, I don't have a choice but to, assess a different player, and I have to coach a lot better as well. So we're going to find out who and what we're made of.
And I'm going to back him up because at halftime, right after that interception, I said, dude, it is time for Quinn Ewers, dude. What are we waiting on? What are we waiting on? I get it. We're paying Tua a ton of money. Swallow it. It doesn't matter. And they put in Quinn, and what did he do in the first play? He threw a 45-yard catch to a wide receiver 5 that he's probably been practicing with since, August.
Mhm.
And I just think it's time to see what McDaniels has before we fire him at the end of the year, which is coming. The cloud is over his face. But I will say it might just be Tua, dude. It just might be Tua because he's not running the offense. It looks like he's lost respect to that locker room. And giving that guy the money and the leadership role, I think they just gave it to him too early. They saw his 1 year of stats and said, hey, this is our future.
Mhm.
And I think they're going to bite that bullet. And let's see what this Quinn kid could do it. And if this kid can run the Mike McDaniel offense, he might just save his job.
So 2 questions to sidebar on this one. 1, you think they jump over Zach Wilson, go straight to Quinn Ewers?
They did.
Okay, fantastic.
They put Wilson on the practice squad.
Okay, well then that makes a lot of sense. Quinn must have beat him out for the backup job then. And then number 2, do you firmly believe that the Dolphins wait until the end of the year to fire McDaniels? Because I'm not going to lie to you, as much as I love what he said as well, and assessing the people who need to be assessed needs to happen for the Miami Dolphins, it seems to me that usually NFL teams take it upon themselves to fire coaches mid-year, no matter what their change of mindset is.
I think our owner is one of the stupidest owners in the NFL, and I'll just say that clearly. And he has came out in the last week and said, no one's getting fired. Not yet. And I think it just might. I mean, they're 1-6. They've had 4 chances to not be 1-6 and it blew the leads or blew it on themselves. And he just said it. It wasn't that the Browns beat us. There was over 15 plays that Miami not only had either penalties or they would stop him at 3rd and out and get a penalty on the 4th down. It happened 3 times on 3rd and long where they stopped him. They got an interception. They got a turnover and they shot themselves in the foot. It's not teams beating Miami. It's Miami beating Miami.
That's fair. And let's move over to a team that beat themselves yesterday as well, if you ask me, but that would be the Giants losing to the Broncos. Biggest comeback I think I've seen in a while. 19-point lead that turned into a 33-point turnaround somehow for the Denver Broncos. Main question for me going into this was, 1, is this an indictment on Brian Dable, or 2, is this just Sean Payton football? I really can't figure out which one it is. I think Brian Dable has been able to kind of save his job with the Giants since this whole Jackson Dart move. But watching this game, watching them fall apart, and again, this is the second time since Jackson Dart's been the quarterback that they've lost a game where they really shouldn't have, because if you count the Saints game as well. And that's another game where I really have to sit there and think, was that because Brian Dable didn't make the necessary adjustments to really win this game and seal it for the Giants?
I think it's Dable.
Do you think it goes down to Dable at this
Yeah,
point?
and obviously they're missing a lot of key pieces in that offense, but Dart has it. He has it, and I think if they can get a better coach,
Mhm.
I think they could be much better.
I agree with you, but again, I
don't
want
think he
to
saves his
see-
job.
You don't think his job's
I
safe?
think at the end of the season he's done.
Okay. Well, again, I think that the Giants are going to be willing to keep him, especially if they can find some sort of success here at the end of the year and maybe get somewhere around 500 football. I think Dable keeps his job, but this loss is definitely going to be one of those where the front office of the Giants looks at it and says, "Ooh, that's a pretty big indictment." The other game that we have to highlight before we get out of here as well, we'll get to the rest of the games tomorrow, but the Eagles pulling off the win over the Vikings 28-22 behind Jalen Hurts' fantastic arm. Still no run game for the Philadelphia Eagles. However, Smith was able to catch 9 catches for 183 yards and a touchdown, and A.J. Brown finally getting what he wanted, essentially, 4 catches, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Do you believe that the Eagles can really rely on Hurts' arm to finish out this season and get them back to a championship level? Or are they going to need to figure out a way to get Saquon's legs going again? And mind you, Jalen Hurts had a perfect passer rating in this game. Personally, I don't think they get it done enough with just the pass game alone. The best thing about the Philadelphia Eagles has been their adaptability on offense. And without Saquon Barkley in the run game, there's a big question mark for me.
I think it's both. I think they can get both. I think that Hurts is taking the correct steps, but they've got to keep feeding Barkley because it's gonna happen.
Guys like Barkley and Bijan, you have to get them the ball no matter what. You have to scheme them into the game, and that's how you're going to end up winning games. Is because the run game.
We did get a text saying, should I get rid of Barkley? I don't think so.
No,
I think they're going to keep feeding him, and sooner or later that is going to break.
Again, if you can get a good trade for Barkley, if you could trade Barkley away for 2 good pieces, sure, get it done. But at this point right now, don't take this as an indictment on Saquon. I think they figure it out in Philadelphia eventually and get the offense back rolling like they were last year. We got to get out of here, though. This has been the Early Bird Special. Here comes the great Rich Eisen. Sparky, let's go home.